Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today we dive into a story that gripped the nation, shook the political landscape, and left an indelible mark on South Africa's history, the arrest of former President Jacob Zuma in July 2021, and new insights recently revealed by former Police Minister Bheki Cele. This isn't just a tale of law enforcement, it's a story of power, tension, constitutional duty, and the fine line between maintaining peace and upholding the rule of law. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. What are your thoughts on this historical moment? Do you think it was handled correctly? Let us know. Now let's rewind the clock to July 2021. South Africa was already on edge. The country was battling COVID-19, economic strain, and deep political divisions. Then came a seismic ruling from the Constitutional Court. Former President Jacob Zuma was sentenced to 15 months in prison for contempt of court after he defied a court order to appear before the Zondo Commission, which was investigating state capture during his presidency. Zuma, a polarizing figure in South African politics, had always enjoyed strong grassroots support, particularly in his home province of KwaZulu-Natal. So when news broke that he had to hand himself over to police, the atmosphere turned volatile. Supporters began gathering outside his residence in Nkandla, vowing to shield him from arrest. What followed was one of the tensest moments in recent political memory. Now, more than 3 years later, former Police Minister Bheki Cele has opened up about what happened behind the scenes during those critical hours. And what he shared paints a dramatic picture of the stress and complexity of the situation. At the time, Cele was battling COVID-19, unwell, but still deeply aware of his constitutional responsibilities. He recently revealed during a public event that despite being sick, he had to continue working to ensure Zuma complied with the court's decision. And not just out of duty, Cele stated that had he failed to enforce the court's order, he himself could have been arrested for dereliction of duty. COVID-19 was present, he said, but I had to go to work. I was going to go to jail if I didn't make sure Zuma was arrested. He emphasized the weight of the Constitutional Court's ruling and the deadline they had issued. By midnight on July 7, Zuma had to surrender to the authorities. Behind the scenes, discussions were unfolding at breakneck pace. Cele confirmed that intensive negotiations were taking place, not just to secure Zuma's surrender, but to prevent bloodshed. Tensions were running high. Any misstep could have plunged the country into chaos. According to Cele, it was not a simple period of time and required extraordinary care to avoid a full-blown conflict. Now imagine this, you're the head of police. The former president has refused to comply with a court ruling. Thousands of supporters, some armed, are camped out at his house, ready to defend him. The eyes of the nation and the international community are watching. You're sick with a virus that's claimed thousands of lives, and yet you must act or risk being arrested yourself. As the deadline loomed, and the country waited with bated breath, Zuma finally gave in. Just minutes before the midnight deadline, he surrendered and was taken into custody. He was transported to the Escort Correctional Center in KwaZulu-Natal. But the arrest did not bring calm. It was the spark that ignited widespread unrest across the province and into Gauteng. What followed was some of the most violent and destructive days in post-apartheid South Africa. Over 350 people lost their lives. Thousands of businesses were looted and burned. Infrastructure was decimated. And all of it, sparked by political tension, economic frustration, and deep-rooted social inequality. In his recent remarks, Cele made it clear that despite the criticism and chaos that followed, the police did what they had to do. It was about ensuring the rule of law was upheld, he said. No one is above the law. Zuma's imprisonment was short-lived. He was granted medical parole just 2 months into his sentence, a controversial decision that was later challenged and overturned in court. Eventually, Zuma was released, a move that continues to spark debate to this day. Was justice served? Or was the system undermined? Bheki Cele's perspective reminds us of the complexity of leadership during a national crisis. His insights shed light on the moral and legal dilemma law enforcement faces when tasked with arresting a political heavyweight in a climate of intense national division. It wasn't just about arresting a former president. It was about doing so in a way that wouldn't tear the nation apart. We also cannot forget the long-term impact this event had on public trust in institutions. Many South Africans felt that the government was either too heavy-handed or too slow to act. The violence that ensued revealed deep cracks in our society: inequality, unemployment, and political disenfranchisement. All of it came to a head in those tragic days. The Zuma arrest saga continues to be a cautionary tale. It teaches us that justice must be served, but also that enforcing justice, particularly against powerful figures, can come at a high cost. The balancing act between preserving peace and defending the Constitution is never easy. And what about Bheki Cele himself? His revelation shows the often unseen pressure public officials face. Criticized by some, praised by others, Cele stood at the front line of a legal and political storm. Whether you agree with how it was handled or not, his experience provides valuable insight into the behind-the-scenes efforts to keep South Africa from descending into anarchy. So, what are your thoughts? Was Cele right to act the way he did? Could the situation have been handled differently? And how should we deal with future situations involving powerful political figures and the rule of law? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, if you found this content insightful, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. We cover all the major stories shaping South Africa's political and social landscape. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.